All right, guys, welcome back. We've got another video today of Question of the Day. I'm joined by Coach Jason and Coach Vincent from Chena Swim Club. Today's question came from one of our Chena swimmers in the senior provincial group. Rohan Mount Stevens wanted to know what was your favorite event when you swam and the most memorable moment you have swimming it. So I'll throw this one to Jason. Jason, what's your favorite or most fond memory of your favorite event and racing it?
Yeah. So hands down, favorite event has to be the 100 butterfly. I know my best event was the 200 fly, but the funnest event or most fun event I had was the 100 fly for sure. Um, it was a really close tie between my most memorable moment between the two. But I think, was this our first year together at Westerns, or is this our second?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was my first season here. We went to Westerns in Kamloops in
Yeah.
February of 2011.
Mhm.
I think you were 16 at the time, and you're racing the 16 under category, and you had the final of the men's 100 fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like not just the race, but like the most what leads up to it also kind of makes it more memorable. In that I think when I swam in the summer program, I was like
Kind
not
of a
to
big deal. You're
kind of
kind
a
of a
big deal
big
in the
deal.
summer program. Like
Summer
have a
swimming
few
legend, Jason
legend
Terralon.
spots,
There it is.
and like coming from that, and then when I started full time swimming, it was like it knocked me. Like I don't think I got a single medal in my first year of swimming. I like maybe not even made a final in some events. I think maybe junior nationals I made the final for the 50 fly, and
Okay.
like that's all I got. So I just remember it was like really tough transition, like not having that same success. So it was kind of hard like mentally that first year and a half. So then yeah, when I made that final for Westerns, I remember I was so excited, like amped up, never had like swam in like a final at that kind of point. Um, and I just remember feeling so good at the start of the race, like got up, absolutely went out for it. Um, the part that I remember the most about that race was the last 25 and how hard and awful my stroke felt. Like I felt like a little kid who had just learned butterfly for the first time, arms barely coming out the water, like just dragging myself along. But like I could hear everybody screaming and cheering as loud as they could, and I just kept pushing harder and harder because I could feel that support behind me. And I just remember touching, looking up at that big scoreboard. I saw I was like second. I just went nuts. I was like, I hadn't had that kind of success in so long. Like I remember looking at you. You were also amped up, and I'm like, oh, this feels so good. And like this was back when we had the Chena jerseys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
like
sea green.
sea green. Like I ran over, threw my jersey on, got up on the podium, got the medal, and like you told me to get it engraved because it was such a special moment. And I feel like a dork because I know I swam with some high level guys who like don't keep these kind of things, but I still have the medal from
Okay.
then, and I got the engraved time. Like that was also a big race because I think I had never gone 58 for the 100 fly.
Hmm.
I think I was stuck at 59, and then I shot past that and went 57.7 in that race. So it's just like huge moment. Felt so good about it. Like reinvigorated me to keep going, like keep working hard. So
That's a nice looking medal.
Yeah.
Very
it's a
unique
nice
design.
one. It's like a little almost kind of like a snowflake design
Snow.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
I
enjoyed this one.
I remember that week. That was a cool meet. That was like the first big meet we had because we had Westerns before we had provincials.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a lot of fun. We had some real good breakthrough swims at that meet. It was kind of the start of
Mm-hmm.
everything. That was the real big starting point. I felt like for us as a program in that first season. That's cool. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Kamloops.
Good old
That was you,
loops.
Jason. You were the
Yeah.
starting point.
Bobby.
Well, I was gonna say it was Mel making the senior national cut and becoming our only trials swimmer at the time, but I'll give it to Jason on this one.
I'm in there
Potato,
somewhere. Mel
potato.
was up there. I'm kind of like,
You're in there. You're in there.
I'm in there.
That's good. That's a good one. How about you, Vin? What's your favorite event and most memorable moment swimming it?
Um, so I was joking earlier, but my favorite event would definitely be the 25 fly because I can't finish anything past that. But um, it's also 100 fly. Um,
Respect.
yeah, and definitely didn't feel the best at the end of it, like you said, Jason. But I think it was the most rewarding, and it was like again, it was I've only been a summer swimmer, so that was basically the longest butterfly race you could do. Um, but my favorite moment was the one year at provincials, and I was probably like, when was this? I think this is 2014, something like that. No, something like that. But I was graduated already, but I hadn't broken a minute yet, and that was like my goal for maybe like 3 years straight, and it was just so much. There's so much stress and um, nerves behind the blocks all the time. And then that year, I really started getting into coaching more, and I was still training, but just kind of for fun. And then I just remember I was in like the B final of the meet, and I was next to one of my buddies, Kevin, who was a varsity swimmer. And like at that point in the summer season, the varsity guys aren't training, or those guys doing summer swimming aren't, or summer coaching aren't training anymore. So they're just kind of going there for a rip. And I swam the race, touched the wall, and like I remember being very close to Kevin the whole time. And I was like, okay, this is feeling pretty good. I don't feel like I'm crazy, like dying like crazy yet until the last 25. But touched the wall, and then everyone around me knew that was my goal, even though I'd been starting to coach more. Like they still knew I really wanted it. So I finished, and then Kevin looked at me. He's like, "Hey, look at the scoreboard." And I like turn around. And I was just squinting at the board because it was in Victoria, and like I have no glasses, so I'm like, I literally cannot see what it is. And he's like, "You did it, dude! You did it!" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then it wasn't until after I got out of the pool, I was like this wave of emotion really hit me, where I was like, "Oh my god, this is like 4 years in the making." And I kind of like just sat down in a corner and wept for like 20 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. I cried for like 20 minutes straight. It was a sight. It was weird.
It's emotional. Like totally like understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was really cool because the way that I basically swam it exactly the way that I thought I could. I was like, okay, I got to go out 27 mid and then come back 32, and it had to be like that. And then that was exactly what I did. So,
Nice.
yeah. What about yours, Patrick?
Me?
Yeah, what's yours?
You know what? My swimming career was a long time ago. Um, Started digging into this and thinking about. I have a couple of memories. I mean, my favorite event to swim was the 200 IM. It wasn't my best event, but I really just love that event. I love swimming it because it's hard if you do it right, and you got to be able to swim four strokes and detailed and technical aspects of it. So that was always my favorite event as an athlete. Truth be told, I probably should have been a 400 IMer, but I was a breaststroker, and back in the 80s, you became a specialist at 8 years old. So that's what I became. So I did a lot of 100, 200 breaststroke, and I do have a couple of memories, but they're not like I don't. It's funny because I guess I was a coach early on. My memories that I have from the 200 breaststroke, which was my best event, um, one is from when I was 11, and one was from when I was 14. But they're both kind of negative experiences. But two negative experiences really shaped who I was or who I became as a person, as a coach. So I think that's why they're memorable for me. I don't really remember. I've got this box of medals of all these races I won, and all the success I had, but I don't really remember a lot of those races. So I'll start with the first one, the one that I guess should have been a real learning curve for me, or something that I think has helped me in my coaching career a lot. Was when I was 10 years old, I was ranked number one in Canada in the breaststrokes. Like you see these tag power rankings, and there'd be a magazine that'd come out and stuff like that. So I was like the number one 100, 200 breaststroker in the country. And if I had gone to provincials as a 10 and under, I would have won. They were allowed 5 events at the time. I would have won 5 gold medals. Like it was, like I said, it was pretty good like that. But the problem is anybody who's got a February birthday knows that I turned 11, and then I had to go to and we had double age groups back then, so it was 10 under, 11, 12. So I had to go race as an 11-year-old in the 11, 12 age group, and I was already small to begin with, so I was pretty scared and pretty intimidated, and I was still qualified in the older age group to go swim the 100 fly, the 100 breast, and the 200 breast. Like those events I had qualified in, so I could go. And I'll never forget that swimming, because here I am going to provincials. I'm watching one of my good buddies who was 12 seconds slower than me in the 200 breaststroke win a gold medal in the 200 breaststroke, where I got up and I swam, and I'll never forget this. I swam my 100 fly, and I did a one-hand touch, and I got disqualified. And then I swam my 100 breaststroke, and I false started, and got disqualified.
Oh.
And then I got up for my 200 breaststroke and I did a one-hand touch and I got disqualified. So I went to provincials and my results page was DQ, DQ, DQ.
Brutal.
And that really kind of hit me. And at that time you're 11, so it was devastating. And honestly, I didn't swim well for like the next year and a half. It rattled me so much. And I think that experience gives me a little bit of something that I can relate to athletes now as a coach, because like it was like I might as well not have gone. I didn't even exist. So anytime somebody says, "Oh, I had a bad meet," it's like, let me tell you about a bad swim meet, right? So that's one. And then the other memorable moment was it's weird because I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the end of my swim career. I swam in the 200 breaststroke at provincials when I was 14, and I had gotten to the point where I was starting to get faster again and making up the ground that I had lost from basically having no confidence. And I was starting to get going again. And I got to the point where I swam the 200 breaststroke and I dove in, did the first 50. I was out really great. I was setting up the race well. Came off the 50 while it was short course. Did my pull out and I felt this most excruciating pain in my legs. Like I kid you not, I started crying right away in the race, and I just kept racing. And every kick and every turn and every pull out, it just was so pain, like hurt so bad. And I had torn my groin apart on both sides. And I finished the race, and I was really proud of myself because I didn't stop. I didn't give up. But by God, it hurt so much. At the end, I had to crawl to the pool. I had to get help. I couldn't walk, but I got a bronze medal. Like I actually stuck it out and got the bronze medal. I won a best time, and it was the last time in my life that I won a best time 200 breaststroke. It's the last time in my life that I actually swam a 200 breaststroke where I can say I actually raced it. So I always say to swimmers now, and once again, it helped me as a coach because it helped me realize things that I wouldn't do with athletes, and also you don't know when your career is going to end. I didn't know going in. I was on the uptick at that point. I had gone through a dip and I was coming up and I was getting pretty good. I was getting faster, and who knows where I could have ended up. But that was memorable for a very, very, very different reason, and that kind of changed the course for me a little bit. So those are my two moments at the 200 breaststroke or with my races. I guess I have more fond memories. I remember a lot of the races I've coached more than the ones I swam. But
that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my moment. So super uplifting, positive message for everybody today. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's like you're in a relationship with swimming and you can love it dearly, and some days it doesn't love you back, and it can be really cruel. And I've had my fair share of moments where it's pretty cruel. So, cool. Well, guys, thank you for sharing your stories and your experiences. For anybody who's got more questions for us, keep the questions coming in. We'll keep doing videos. We'll keep answering your questions and sharing a little bit about our experience and our story. But until then, we'll say take care, be healthy, be safe, everybody, and we'll talk to everybody again soon.